Have you ever read something that just felt powerful, like really sophisticated, while other writing just kind of falls flat? Well, the secret usually isn't about using fancy $10 words. Nope, it's about the structure, the very architecture of the sentences themselves.
So what is it? What's the secret ingredient that takes a sentence from just being functional, getting a point across, to one that can build a complex argument, create suspense, and just guide your thoughts with absolute precision? Well, you guessed it. The secret is architecture. Think about it. Just like a building, a great sentence is built on a solid foundation with all sorts of interesting supporting structures. And today, that's what we're going to do. We're going to become the architects of our own amazing sentences.
All right, so every great building starts with a rock-solid foundation, right? Well, in the world of sentences, that foundation has a name, the independent clause.
An independent clause is basically the strong, self-sufficient hero of your sentence. It's got a subject, it's got a verb, and, this is the most important part, it expresses a complete thought. It doesn't need any help from anyone to make perfect sense.
Take a look at this. Jim studied in the sweet shop for his chemistry quiz. See? It's a whole story right there. We know who did what and where. It can stand completely on its own, no problem. That's our foundation, solid.
Okay, foundation's in place. Now, let's bring in the part that adds all the cool, complex details, the dependent clause. I kind of like to call it the needy clause, because honestly, it just can't stand on its own 2 feet. And you can see exactly what I mean right here. Look how a perfectly complete thought can just break. Eliza is late. Fine, makes sense. But it had one little word, because, and boom, because Eliza is late. What? What happened? We're just left hanging. That's the needy nature of a dependent clause in a nutshell. So what's the magic word that does this? It's called a dependent marker. It's words like because, when, if, who, or that. The second you stick one of these at the beginning of a perfectly good independent clause, you instantly make it dependent. You make it needy.
Okay, so we know these clauses are needy, but what are they actually for? What's their job? Turns out they perform 3 main jobs inside a sentence.
And we can break it down really simply by the questions they answer. Adverbial clauses are all about the details. They tell us when, where, or why something happened. Adjectival clauses get specific. They answer which one. And nominal clauses, well, they're a bit different. They basically answer the question, what? Let's start with the adverbial guys. They add all this rich context. Just look at the chart. If you want to talk about time, you'll use words like after or while. Need to explain why something happened? You'll grab because or since. These clauses are what give the main action of the sentence all that crucial background info.
Next up, adjectival clauses. They work just like adjectives describing a noun. Now, this is where punctuation becomes your secret weapon. When the information is absolutely essential, you use no commas. Here, the bit about who meet their sales quotas is totally critical.
I mean, think about it. Is that information essential to know which employees get the bonus? Yeah. Without it, the sentence is way too vague. We don't know who gets the money. Because it's essential, no commas are needed. But what about when the information is just extra? A little, by the way, fun fact. Well, then you have to use commas. Here, the main point is that my new car is great on gas. The fact that it was a gift, that's just a non-essential, interesting little tidbit, so we wrap it in commas to set it apart. Just ask yourself this. If you take out which was a gift, does the main meaning of the sentence change at all? Nope, not one bit. The car still needs very little gas. The commas are like a little signal to the reader saying, hey, this is just some bonus info you don't strictly need. And finally, we get to nominal clauses. Now, these are pretty cool because the entire clause, the whole chunk of words, acts as a single noun. In this example, what the doctor said, that whole phrase is the subject. It's the thing that was important. This is how you can talk about really complex ideas as if they're a single unit. Pretty neat, right?
Okay, so we've got our foundational independent clauses and our needy little dependent add-ons. Now for the fun part, let's look at the actual blueprints for how we put them together to build some really sophisticated structures.
A complex sentence is actually pretty simple. It's just one strong foundation plus at least one needy add-on. Like, although she's tired, she ran on the beach. Easy. And if you want to get even fancier, you can build a compound complex sentence. That's just 2 or more of those strong foundations plus at least one needy add-on. It lets you link multiple big ideas while still giving all that juicy context.
Okay, pay attention, because this next part is the most important takeaway of the whole thing. This isn't just about boring grammar rules. This is about power. This is how you, the writer, take control and tell your reader exactly what to focus on.
And this slide illustrates the point perfectly. Look on the left. Using the word but puts the two ideas on totally equal footing. The flawed projections are just as important as approving the budget. But look to the right. By using although, we've demoted the flawed projections. We're telling the reader, yeah, the projections were flawed, we know. But the main thing, the real takeaway here, is that we approve the budget anyway. See the difference?
So here's the golden rule, the most crucial point. Your main idea, the thing you really want to hammer home, must go in the independent clause. All the supporting details, the context, the by-the-way stuff, that gets tucked away in the dependent clause. That is how you masterfully guide your reader's attention.
You know, there are even fancy formal names for these styles. Hypotaxis is that complex, layered, scholarly style that uses a ton of subordination to show all the logical links. Parataxis, on the other hand, is that simple, direct, punchy style that just strings ideas together for a more urgent feel. It's basically the difference between an academic paper and an action novel. The sentence structure you choose creates the entire vibe. So please remember this. Subordination, using these needy, dependent clauses, it isn't a weakness in writing. It is the writer's single most powerful tool for creating a hierarchy of ideas and for communicating exactly what matters most.
So, there you have it. You've got the blueprints, you've got the foundational pieces and all the supporting structures. You now know how to connect them to create emphasis and meaning and power. So the only question left is, what amazing things are you going to build?